Some of the best looking neighborhoods in the Ann Arbor area come with a catch buyers don't find out about until after they move in. One historic neighborhood on the west side has a 12% chance of severe flooding over the next 30 years, according to Redfin's own data. So why do buyers keep signing anyway? Because on a sunny Saturday showing, none of that shows up. I'm Jon Boyd, the managing broker of the Home Buyer's Agent, and I've spent over 30 years as an exclusive buyer's agent here in Ann Arbor. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 Ann Arbor area neighborhoods where buyers might get surprised after closing, exactly what catches them off guard street by street, and who each of these neighborhoods is actually a perfect fit for. Old West Side and Water Hill are two of the most charming pockets of Ann Arbor, and that's exactly the problem. Walk down streets in this part of town and you're looking at homes that go back to the 1800s in a neighborhood that made the National Register of Historic Places back in 1972. In some locations, the Old West Side Association still has a say in what you can change on the outside of your house, so that gorgeous porch or original trim isn't going anywhere, whether the new owner planned for it or not. Here's the mismatch. Buyers show up wanting walkability and character, and this area delivers both. It's the 4th most walkable neighborhood in Ann Arbor according to WalkScore, with a score of 73. You can walk to coffee, downtown, and the farmer's market without ever starting your car. What doesn't sell itself is what's underneath these houses. A lot of them have original foundations, awkward layouts, and knob and tube wiring that's been patched over the decades. We see listings brag about a foundation replacement finished less than 10 years ago as a major selling point, because in this neighborhood, that's genuinely rare and genuinely valuable. Most buyers touring an 1890s house have no idea they're supposed to think about the foundation at all until they're the ones paying for it. And there's a flood piece too. Redfin's own risk data puts a 12% of West Side properties at risk of severe flooding over the next 30 years. Compare that to Ann Arbor as a whole, where it's about 4%. That's 3 times the citywide average, and it traces back to how close a lot of these lots sit to Allen Creek, which used to run above ground before the city buried it. None of this makes the Old West Side a bad buy. It's one of my favorite neighborhoods to work in this market, where I bought my first home shortly after getting my electrical engineering degree from the University of Michigan. But it's the wrong fit for a buyer who wants turnkey and low maintenance. It's a right fit for somebody who wants character and walkability, has the time and interest in maintaining it, and is ready to budget for an older house. So if charm and walkability matter more to you than fully updated systems, keep this one on your list. If you want zero surprises after closing, this might not be it. Brighton looks like a dream if you want lake life without leaving the area. Downtown Brighton has that small lake town feel, mill pond views, and a much slower pace than anything close to University of Michigan campus. For buyers who work remotely or work up in Livingston or Oakland County, it makes a lot of sense. Here's where it goes sideways. A lot of relocating clients take a job at the University of Michigan or one of the tech companies near downtown Ann Arbor. Look at Brighton on a map and figure it's basically a suburb. It's not. It's about 19 to 21 miles door to door, roughly 24 minutes with no traffic, according to standard drive time data. On a bad day, that 24 minutes turns into 45 or 50 each way. And in the winter, that same stretch of highway gets black ice reports every year, which turns an easy commute into something you're white knuckling twice a day. So Brighton buyers aren't just commuting to Ann Arbor, they're commuting through another community to get there, which matters a lot more in Michigan January than it does when you're touring homes in July. We've had clients who love the Brighton area, bought in the area, and found themselves doing 90 minutes round trip every day for a job at the hospital or on campus. 2 years in, they're exhausted, and some of them end up selling and moving closer. Brighton and Howell can be great fit if your job is remote or if you're commuting toward Livingston or Oakland County instead of Ann Arbor. It's a rough fit if you're commuting into University of Michigan every single day and you never actually drove that route at rush hour before you signed a purchase agreement. A lot of buyers pick a house because of the city name on the listing, and that's exactly how they end up in the wrong school boundary. Northville has one of the best school system reputations in the whole state. Niche currently ranks Northville Public Schools as the #2 school district in Michigan and number 27 in the entire state, with almost 7,000 students across 10 schools. That reputation is earned, and it's a big reason buyers specifically target a Northville address. Here's the catch. Northville Public Schools doesn't only serve the city of Northville, it also covers covers parts of Northville Township, and depending on the exact parcel, some nearby areas feed into Novi or Plymouth Canton schools instead, even though the mailing address still says Northville. Two houses on the same street can land in completely different districts. We've heard of buyers assuming the city name guarantees the school, sign a purchase agreement, and only find out at closing, or worse, after they've already enrolled a child, that they're zoned for a different district entirely. This isn't unique to Northville either. It's a pattern we see across Oakland, Washtenaw, and Wayne counties, wherever a highly ranked district borders several others. The misconception we hear most often is some version of, the listing agent would have told me if it wasn't Northville schools. Well, listing agents represent the seller, not you, and most of them are working off the same city data assumption the buyer is. We've also had clients tell us they knew a home was in a good school district but didn't realize their children would be going to the least desirable elementary school out of 20 in the district. This isn't a knock on any of those other districts. Novi and Plymouth Canton both have strong reputations on their own. The issue is buyers making a six-figure decision based on assumption instead of a fact. A fix is simple, but almost nobody does it before writing an offer. You pull the actual parcel and check against the district boundary map, not the city limits. That's a 5-minute check that can save you from a decision you can't undo without moving again. If you're set on this part of the metro and you've confirmed the exact boundary for the house you're looking at, this area is fantastic. If you're buying off a city name alone, this is exactly how buyers end up disappointed 6 months after closing. Download my Ann Arbor area relocation guide using the link in the description. I've mapped out the school boundaries, flood zones, and homeowners association situations for the exact neighborhoods we're covering in this video, so you can check your specific address against all three before you ever write an offer. Some of the nicest looking developments in Canton and Novi come with a board that has more control over your house than you'd expect. These new construction communities look great on paper. Consistent landscaping, matching exteriors, a pool or clubhouse, and none of the maintenance headaches you've got with an older Ann Arbor area home. For a lot of buyers relocating for a new job, that low maintenance package is exactly what they want. Here's what catches people off guard. Michigan doesn't have a single statewide law governing homeowner associations the way some other states do. Instead, everything comes down to the specific covenants, conditions, and restrictions, sometimes called CC&Rs. The master deed recorded for that development, plus whatever Michigan laws allow the board to enforce. Because there's no one rule book, these documents end up carrying more weight than most buyers expect. That means the rules on renting out a room, parking a work truck or a boat in your driveway, putting up a fence, or changing your exterior paint color can be a lot stricter than most buyers assume when they're picturing a normal neighborhood. There's also a new wrinkle as of this year. Michigan Homeowners Energy Policy Act changed how boards can regulate solar panels, and boards had until April 1st, 2026 to adopt a compliant solar policy. If you're planning on adding solar down the road, you need to know exactly what that specific homeowners association came up with on the new rule. And here's the part that surprises new construction condominium and site condominium buyers the most. You get a 9 business day window to walk away penalty-free after you've received your homeowners association documents. Once that window closes, you're bound by whatever's in there. If you're buying resale instead of new construction, you don't even get a 9-day protection. Your only leverage is what you negotiate in the purchase contract itself. This kind of community is a great fit if you want predictability and you're comfortable with a board having a say in your exterior. It's a rough fit if you want control over your own property, especially around rentals or parking. Some of the most established, prettiest streets in Ann Arbor's west side sit on top of a groundwater problem that just became a whole lot more serious. On March 12, 2026, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, added the old Gelman Sciences site off Wagner Road to the Superfund National Priorities List, which is the federal government's list of the most contaminated sites in the country. Underneath that site is a plume of a chemical called 1,4-dioxane, and according to the Environmental Protection Agency, it stretches roughly 3 miles long and 1 mile wide, underground, running under part of Scioto Township and the west side of Ann Arbor. This isn't new. The health department discovered the issue back in 1984 when 1,4-dioxane turned up in the water on the west side of Ann Arbor, and some homeowners with private wells near the plume had to abandon those wells and hook up to city water instead. What is new is the federal Superfund designation this year, and starting the week of July 8, 2026, residents near the plume have been able to sit down directly with an EPA representative about what this means for their specific property. Here's the part I want to be fair about. If your home is on municipal water, the EPA's own statement is that municipal customers are not currently at risk because the city's treatment process handles it. I'm not telling you to avoid this part of Ann Arbor. These are some of the most established, best located roads and streets in the entire area, and plenty of our clients still buy there. What I am telling you is that if you're looking at anything near Wagner Road, Maple Road, Jackson Avenue on the far west side, you need to know whether that specific house is on municipal water or on a private well, and you need to know it before you write an offer, not after. This is the one mismatch on the list that has nothing to do with taste or lifestyle. It's about doing your homework on one specific address before you fall in love with a house. After 30 years of walking buyers through exactly this kind of due diligence, this is the research we do with you on every property before we sign an offer. So where does that leave you if one of these 5 areas was on your list? If you loved Old West Side but want less maintenance, look at similarly walkable historic streets in Ipsy's Depot Town or parts of Chelsea, where you get some of the same character with newer systems underneath, and usually a smaller premium attached to the word historic. If Brighton's lake life appealed to you, but the commute worries you, Whitmore Lake gets you a lot of the same lifestyle with several fewer miles on US 23 every day and still puts you on the correct side of the Whitmore Lake bottleneck instead of driving through it every morning. If the homeowner association control in Canton or Novi gives you pause, some of the older subdivisions in South Lyon or Milford have looser restrictions with a similar amount of upkeep to take care of, because a lot of those CC&Rs were written decades before the board started tightening rules on rentals and parking. And if the west side's groundwater situation gives you pause, there are homes on Ann Arbor's east and south sides with the same access to campus and none of the specific concern, and you still get relatively short commute to campus. If you buy blind, you're looking at a renovation budget you didn't plan for, a commute that wears you down within a year, or a school assignment you can't change without selling and moving again. We've watched all of those play out with buyers who came to us after they purchased their home without a buyer's brokerage on their side. Call or text me directly at 734-662-6240. Tell me which of these 5 areas you're considering, and I'll walk you through exactly what to check on that specific address, from the well versus municipal water question to the actual district boundary, before you make an offer.